Hello, I'm hoping that you speak English, really. If I move away from the microphone, can you hear me? Can you hear me if I speak here? No? You want me to put on the mic? Okay.
Simultaneous translation is being provided, so you will have to speak into the microphone.
Okay. Thank you. Right, well, I'm going to talk about people I work with and some of the areas of difficulty which we've addressed in my studio. When I make an assessment of a singer, it's interesting to note the postural differences and how this affects laryngeal posture and how laryngeal posture can affect skeletal alignment, which is exactly what we've just seen. Postural misalignment can affect how the singer breathes and supports the sound, where and how the singer places the voice, the singer's vocal range, their tone and the diction, muscular tension and relaxation, and laryngeal posture. A singer working in musical theatre has to sing in all vocal qualities, and this requires laryngeal changes, and therefore muscular changes are essential for efficient singing. A singer leading with the chin, like that. This puts pressure on the neck, the sternocleidomastoid gets thicker, the strap muscles going from the thyroid and from the hyoid bone down to the sternum, they're put under pressure. And if you drive the chin forward, especially where the voice has a natural break or a transition, it can crack or go into falsetto, as in and that's what happens sometimes, especially with beginners. This leading with the chin is often associated with speech quality, and speech quality is as we speak. So it's limited in range, but it speaks well in the middle and the lower part of the range. The vocal folds are thick, so that when you go higher, you either, for a non-trained singer, the head will come forward like that. So in order to fix that, you can put your hand to your forehead and press lightly. And then as you go increase in range, you can just resist that pushing of the head forward. So if you were to siren, could you siren? Do you know what a siren is? It's If you put the head forward, but if you put your hand here, you'll find that you are straight. Have a go. Put your hand here and just press a little bit harder when you go through your transition. So, great. Okay. So now if you let go and just push your chin, and do that, so it cracks. Yep. So it's a really good idea to stay in alignment all the time, where the ear is in line with the shoulder, which is in line with the knee, and it's just about in front, sort of the heel, and the weight is evenly balanced between the ball and the middle of the foot. When working in speech quality and the pitch rises, you also could do something else. You could tilting the thyroid. And if you do this, you're going to thin the vocal folds, and it'll give you access to the higher ranges. But belting is another quality where people drive the chin. So when you're going for the note, the chin goes forward like that, and then the voice is really sore. You can constrict, and the notes can cut out. With belting, the breath has to change slightly. It's higher than one would normally breathe. If you breathe low, you breathe low into the abdominal area, which is normal for when we talk and when we sing generally. But if we belt, the larynx does have to rise a bit. The larynx will also rise a bit, okay? So you take a clavicular breath. Would you like to try that? Just going like a gasp. Try. So you can feel there's an expansion in the chest. When you do that, the larynx rises and you will look up slightly. So when you go there, your posture has automatically changed and you're ready for belt. So you go, hey! Do you want to have a go? Okay. Higher breath here. Hey! If you put a glottal onset on, which is like saying, uh-oh, say uh-oh. So you have a glottal onset. You have the sound coming before the breath. Yep. So with the glottal onset, that'll stop you pushing air. So if you take a breath here, you can pull your shoulders down, squeeze little balloons under your arms. Try that. Squeezing little balloons under your arms. Look up. Hey! Well, it was all right, but you could do better. Try again. Higher breath. Pull the shoulders down. Look up. Hey! Yay! Yay, yay! Yay! Not bad. Okay. So we prevent the chin from coming forward. We have to stay in alignment and we have to grow tall. So it's like pulling up from the back of your head and staying there and then coming down. People come into my studio like this. Hi. Cool, you see. So if you're that cool, you know jolly well what you're going to get. So this is not a great posture. Rounding the shoulders, collapsing the chest is a favourite position of pop and rock singers who haven't had any training. They come in like that because that's how it is. In order to fix that quickly, you can do this. Put your hands behind your back, like that, and pull. Put your hands behind your back and pull. Stand up. Stand up. Hands behind your back. There. And pull. So when you pull down, immediately your head has aligned itself and your posture is straight. You can feel that. You are also anchoring, because anchoring uses the larger muscles in the body to stabilize the muscles of the larynx. So you pull down and then look up. Go, hey! Try and put a glottal onset on. So you go, uh-oh, and the sound is before the breath. If you put the breath first, you could be in a bit of trouble. Okay, so pull your hands down. Look up to tilt the cricoid a bit. Go, uh-oh. Yep, now, hey! Well done, so you're all belters. Fantastic. Okay. Using too much breath can be another issue that I have with a lot of students. And actually, they don't have to be beginners for this. People who drive airflow, they push it out, also collapse like that. So you get hey. It's not great. Also, they're not supported. So you've got the muscle called the transversus abdominis muscle, and that muscle plus your internal and external oblique muscles plus your quadratus lumborum in your back. Now these muscles act like a wide belt, and they're here. Here, just above the pubic bone, and then you put your thumbs in your waist here, and your back, there. So you've got this big cummerbund. You've got this big cummerbund, this big wide belt, and that belt holds things for you. So if you don't use it and you go, nothing, okay? Then you pull up, and you're supported. Do you want to stand up? Stand up. Okay? So first of all, do it without any support. Like, and do it again. Without any support. Yeah. So the difference when you are supporting the sound is enormous from when you're not supporting the sound. And by supporting the sound, you know, you change your whole tone. Sit down, do. The tongue root, which you've just heard about, really, and I'm kind of repeating it. Yes, if the tongue goes back, it pushes the larynx down. And you get that when you get singers go, and it's horrible. So the idea really is, if you do a tongue thrust on a consonant like that, these, those, them, these, those, them, the singer learns. It takes a bit of time, about 10 weeks, but if they do it, then the tongue can be really, really fixed, and you don't have that problem anymore. Just go these, those, sticking the tongue out, those, they, that. Right. Another thing you can do is, when you sing, if you close your teeth at the back gently, just gently, and then say, these, those, they. These, those, they. So this prevents the jaw from going, these, those, they. Okay? It also prevents the tongue from dropping. So if you talk with your teeth closed like this, you will feel that the back of the tongue is staying quite high and the tip of the tongue is working really hard. So say anything you like in Italian. Go. Say, hello everybody, in Italian. Okay, so with your teeth closed, you can feel the tongue working, yeah? Okay. Tilting the thyroid cartilage. When you tilt the thyroid cartilage, the vocal folds become thinner. And that feeling you can also feel at the back of your head. If you put your hand behind your head and you siren to the top of the range, you can feel a muscle connection, yes? Up into the occipital area, yeah? Also, your range is bigger. So if you don't have that tilt and you're in speech quality, you crack, it's unstable. So tilting your speech quality is a good idea. So if you were to sing, volare, oh, it's all I know in Italian, cantare, oh, sing that in speech quality. So it's volare, oh, cantare, oh. Right, now tilt it. So go like a puppy whining or whimpering. You can feel your posture change. You can feel your head change. Yeah? So you go, volare, oh, cantare, oh. Well done. So that's one change you can have. Of course, speech quality is, because it's a communicating quality, it's the chosen quality for pop and rock singers and musical theatre. And it's also in opera. I've heard it in Carmen, at the bottom. They sing in speech quality. Some opera teachers don't like that, but I've heard it. So if you now think of the larynx, we were talking about or rather people before me were talking about the larynx being a bit high and getting stuck.
Well, that's very common with dancers. Dancers come in, hi, Maureen. They talk like that a lot of the time. And because of that, they're also top breathers. So they're, hello, how are you? It's lovely to see you. So it's all up here. So you have to go. Yes. And not only that, they pull their tummies in. So they're like this. Hello, Maureen. It's all up there. So you have to lower. So the larynx, being a movable structure and suspended, can be in different places. It can be up here.
can be low, neutral, high. And it depends on what vocal quality you are singing in. Because I have to say, in some musicals in London, a higher laryngeal posture is actually requested. And it is kind of what they want. So in order to do that, we have to try and make it as safe as possible. And just when they go higher, instead of taking the larynx higher, we have to drop it a bit. Especially in shows like We Will Rock You and Mamma Mia, all the big heavy rock shows, yeah? So the larynx just has to come down a bit when it's high. So dancers have to learn to do that. Another thing that can happen is this. So you have a very arched back. And when you have an arched back, your knees get locked. Now, those two things together can shorten a muscle in the back, called psoas muscle. Now, that muscle is responsible for lifting the leg. But if it shortens that muscle, you can lose up to 5 notes off the top of your range. Okay? It can also cause constriction of the vocal folds. Now, I'm sure you all probably know what constriction of the vocal folds is, but just in case you don't, constriction is this. Darth Vader. Okay? Or, it's horror. It's also dangerous. So when the false vocal folds constrict over the true vocal folds, there's pressure. If you try and take that up and sing with that pressure, you wear them out. It's not a good idea. You can hammer, you can get problems. So the opposite of constriction is a laugh, a giggle. You know, it's a wide stretch from here to here, just sort of laughing. So it would sound like so it's wide open, and then the vocal folds, the true vocal folds, can move freely that way. But if the constriction is there, so if you're like that, you would sing volare, oh. I'm exaggerating, that's constriction major, but even 2 degrees of constriction can wear you out. So you go volare, oh, cantare, oh, and it can hurt, yeah? Rock singers and belting, that is a bit of a problem sometimes with constriction because the vocal fold mass is always so thick. And when it is that thick and you have to tilt the cricoid as opposed to the thyroid, and the vocal folds have to be really shortened, and it's a higher note, the false vocal folds are programmed to shut down for a high note. They don't know the difference between having a baby, lifting a heavy weight, and a high note. They're brilliant, they can do what you want them to do, but nevertheless, they will constrict for a high note. So, when you are engaging all these muscles, these support muscles, you need to be aware that even if your breath is clavicular and you are anchoring the torso means right across here into the pectoralis minor, down your back, there, into your lats, okay? And by pulling weights, just sit up straight and just pull weights. Are you doing it? No, just pull. And you can feel muscles engage. So when you sing with nothing, you sing yeah? And feel the difference. And then let go. Fantastic. So that's anchoring. Also, you can anchor the head and neck. So when you go, try, right. Rigidity. Now, sometimes the opposite of what happens to my slumping bunch, this happens. Hello, Maureen. Okay, so that's no good either. So what you have to do, everything is tight. So the larynx is tight, the tongue root's tight, the body is tight. Nobody can breathe. They are usually clavicular breathers. They breathe high, okay? So you want them to be able to release the belly. So we call it the elastic recoil. And it's just a release, and the air just pops in. So when you go shh, and you just release the belly, and the breath will just come in like this. So you go okay? So that you have the elastic recoil, the breath is quite low. Now, these people who are really, really rigid, they can't do that. They just can't do it to start with. So, Mary Beth Bunch, who's a very clever woman, and I studied with, she has a wonderful exercise, and that is this. And it works. It really works, because it's too tiring, so they have to breathe properly. So they can't just breathe up at the top. So by marching and running up and down stairs, they're too out of breath to just go up there. You will be able to release the tummy. So it's a really, really good exercise. And stamping your feet very, very quickly is another way of releasing all those muscles. Just a quick mention, really, of twang. It has been mentioned. Twang is an amazing muscle. It's the aryepiglottic sphincter, and it constricts, and there are degrees. It can be here at, say, I'm talking to you with twang now, but if I put it on a lot, it's like this. So it's like a duck, quack, or a sheep. Bear, bear. Can you be a sheep? Bear. Fantastic. So you can all twang. That's great. So if you sang Volare, or you can sing... Do you know ironic, by any chance? No? No. No. All right, we'll stick with Volare. Okay, so if you sang Volare with some twang, it would... How would it sound? Volare, canta. Well done. Now, what else do you think happened there? It became nasal. So twang can be either nasal or not. So if you don't want it to be nasal, what do? You lift the soft palate. And the soft palate is like when you go, you feel the cold air hit the bit at the back, stretch it. Stretch that. Keep that like that. Keep the retraction and go, volare, go, volare. As a mix. You can put it into any vocal quality. It's a resonator. So it pings to the back of the room. It's also one of those things that you can use, I say to my singers, if they're going out and everything, and they don't really want to use too much voice, I say, well, if you're going to talk, twang. So they can sit in the... I'll have a glass of wine. I'll have a glass of wine, please. Can I have a glass of wine? Instead of, can I have a glass of wine, please? Or, can I have a glass of wine? So, can I have a glass of wine? So that's a really safe way. Because the aryepiglottic sphincter is quite close to the vocal folds, you do have to be aware of retraction. So that opening up sideways has to be there. And you give it a number, an effort number. In other words, how hard are you working to get the result that you want? And on a scale of 1 to 10, you give it to yourself. It's your number, no one else's. Okay? What else have I got here? Quite a lot, really. I wrote this and rewrote it. Gripping your bottom. Don't grip your bottom. It's not a good idea. Again, that can cause constriction, a bit like that, you know. So it's, again, that's very hard to sing with. Unsupported voicing, you can work on... And if you do the lip trills, at the very, very top, you will feel everything connect. Just go for that, do it. You should feel all the internal and external obliques working and the transverses working. Yep. If the voice cuts out a lot when you're singing, it just suddenly cuts out, there are two things, or even three, but two definitely. One is that the jaw can just grip, especially on the passaggio when you're going higher up in the range. The jaw will just go like that. So you go, and it's gone, yeah? And, I mean, you might have found that with some of your students or something. And that's really not a very, very good thing for it. Okay. Right, nasality I've talked about. Going flat, yes, if you're singing flat, that's usually because the palate has dropped. So you want the palate to stay up, okay? And here's John, and I think I'm finished. Okay, well sung. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.